What's up, guys? I think my internet went out, unfortunately, and that kind of screwed things up here. So we're gonna go back in here. Yeah, let's see. There we go. I'm just trying to pull it back up, and let me just put a couple of things in the chat. I apologize about that. We've been having a little bit of issues with it. I think everyone has some internet issues on occasion, but these four. There we go. We'll just leave it at that. Tip that a little. Alright, anyways. Let's go back to UFC 284. In the previous video, if you tune into that, we were recapping last week's event, Fight Night, Lewis against Spivak. Then the internet cut out, so here we are with, I guess this works out better, right? We just get right into it. So the first fight is Zabara Tukagov taking on Elvis Brenner. Let me pull out my notes, sorry. Zabara's coming into this on a one-fight win streak. He's 2-2-1 in the UFC. Definitely has fought against good opponents so far. Ramos, Dawoodu, Canero, Murphy, he's been around for a while now. 2014. And he's taking on Elvis, who's making his UFC debut, and he is 13-3 professionally. He's a grappler, 11 submission victories, is dangerous early in this fight, perhaps with submissions, but I mean, you gotta like Zabora. He's way more versatile on the feet. He's gonna be the better striker. As far as grappling goes, I don't really see Elvis Brenner going out there and taking down Zabora. So I think if the fight plays out standing up, I like Zabora a lot. Elvis Brenner, we said he has 3 losses, right? All decisions. So that's interesting. Oh, almost forgot. It's the freaking weekend. I'm having probably one spotted cow. Yeah, I mean, not the greatest competition so far, and he doesn't have like a great record against these guys as of late. So I like Zabora. I like his experience in this fight. He's a heavy favorite at -600. I think if you like Brenner, you like it to end early. I don't even know. Like Zabora could perhaps finish him early. At -600 odds, I'm guessing odds makers do not like this to go the distance. It's only -135. That's interesting. I mean, if it's a decision, Zabora definitely, I feel like, wins that. How many wins does Zabora have? I mean, but the other guy, we just saw that. All 3 losses were decisions. 12-3 in decisions for Zabora. So maybe maybe there's some value on the decision at plus 100. I mean, it's a risky bet, for sure. I'm just looking at their records, but Elvis Brenner, this is a big step up in competition. This is a tough debut. If he can't grapple, he might be in a lot of trouble. Next fight we've got is Shane Young taking on Blake Bilder. Shane Young, he's on a 2-fight losing streak. He's 2-3 in the UFC. Blake Bilder, Dana White Contender Series. He's making his UFC debut. Stylistically, Blake Bilder is kind of wild. He's on the feet. He's a good grappler. Is going to go for those submission attempts. You can see most of the wins coming by submission there. As far as Shane Young, output is good. Gotta like the pace and pressure of Shane Young. Can he wear on Blake Bilder, who's maybe not the most efficient offensively? Maybe. And I do feel strongly about, like, this fight's in Australia. We got a fighter from New Zealand here. I do feel strongly about that. I just feel like the UFC knows how to market. They want to, they're in Australia. They want to put on a show for the home crowd. So I think it's a close fight. It is, I think the line's pretty close. Yeah, Shane Young, minus 150. Blake Bilder, plus 130. I'm going to go with Shane Young. I think Blake Bilder, like I said, is just a little inefficient, wild. Is absorbing more strikes than he's dishing out as of the Dana White Contender Series. Yeah. Maybe if he's a little more controlled, I'd favor him more. Shane Young, not bad grappling. Oh yeah, here's something crazy with Shane Young. I wrote down a note on this. I usually just take like streaks and put them in my notes. So I have like 2-fight losing streak, put them in my notes. Look at USA, his debut was against Volk. So crazy. But yeah, I'm going to go with the experience of Shane Young. I think I like the pressure. Yeah, I'm going to go with Shane Young. He is the favorite. Odds makers, I'm guessing, do not like this to go the distance. Yeah, no. If I had to pick a method of victory, 6 KO, 4 submission wins for Shane Young. Blake Bilder, no losses. 4 submission victories. I guess I'd like the Shane Young KO just to wear on him and knock him out. Tough fight, close fight. But yeah, Brian Bilder, if he's not able to get Shane Young out early, I think he is gonna get tired in that matchup. Loma Lookboonmee taking on Elise Reed. Loma's heading into this fight on a 1-fight win streak. She's a good fighter. She's had 2 losses in the UFC to Lupi Godinez and Angela Hill, so good fighters. She's taking on Elise Reed. She's on a 1-fight winning streak, is 2-2 in the UFC, but just haven't been impressed with her. I think Loma's better in a lot of areas of this fight. If it just turns into a sparring matchup, like Elise Reed could probably... She might figure something out. I don't know. But I like she's a Muay Thai artist, and I like her output for the most part. That fight against Hill was very competitive from what I recall. Maybe I'm crazy. I might be crazy. 68-70, a takedown apiece, one submission. Yeah, it was super close. I think we had Loma in this. I don't know if I was... Actually, when was this? I don't think it was that long ago. Loma's been pretty active. Damn. But I like Loma a lot in this fight. I like her pretty much everywhere this fight goes. She is the favorite, and she should be. Minus 315. I like Loma. Yeah, I like her a lot heading into this fight. I'm guessing Elise Reed has 2 UFC losses, and they're both KOs. Sam Hughes, Sijara Eubanks. I mean, Loma, I do think she's better. I'm not going to chase this, but I could see it not going the distance, and there's might be some value at plus 200, but I mean, at that point, just take like Loma KO. Right? I don't think Loma's gonna submit Elise Reed. No submission wins. 6 out of 7 wins, though, via decision. So, yeah, I don't think I'm going to chase that, but, I mean, sprinkling a little bit on plus 350 is interesting. It's interesting. I wrote it down. By the way, if you give me a follow on Twitter, you can see my handle where my mouse is right now. I will post my official picks tomorrow. We're doing tracking all season long, so we'll have to update it when we log on to Twitter. Good year, we had a really good first 2 fights, and now we're looking to get back on track after last week. Jack Jenkins taking on Don Shainis. Jack Jenkins, he came off Dana White's Contender Series. He got like a 3rd round finish, and I don't know. He wasn't like super. I don't know. I was expecting him to really go out there and dominate. I think he was a heavy favorite, and I think everyone thought he was just gonna, cut through his opponent. It was a tough fight, good fight. Ended up winning in round 3. I like Jack Jenkins. Like, his skill set is nice. Had good output, good defense. I remember him like point striking almost too much, in my opinion. And then was getting takedowns as well. He was just, he was super dominant. He was just kind of lackluster for the Contender Series. He's taking on Don Shainis, who's 0-1 in the UFC, but lost to Sadiq Youssef. Prior to the UFC, not the best competition, so Sadiq is a tough debut. Stylistically, he's a grappler. He wants to wrestle. I think this sets up nicely for Jack Jenkins. I like Jack Jenkins here. He's going to be the heavy favorite. What's he at? Minus 350. Yeah, I like him. Don Shainis, he's 12-4. Doesn't have the best gas tank. Just because he's he's pretty wild. I don't know. The competition's not great. So we're going to go with Jack Jenkins. Just trying to think if it's what I like. I mean, I guess I like the finish. Like, it's not going to go the distance, but I just don't feel super confident in betting on, you know, a KO or a submission for Jack Jenkins. KO or submissions minus 135. Yeah, that's tough. That's tough. I do like Jack Jenkins, though, in this fight. Minus 350. He might get taken down in the first round. He might lose the first round, but I think he should win this fight. The next fight we've got is Jamie Mullarkey taking on Francisco Prado. Jamie Mullarkey is heading into this fight on a one-fight winning streak. Just had a split decision win against Michael Johnson. He's taking on Prado, who's making his debut. Prado's coming in here on short notice. Has a lot of power. Is a grappler. Yeah, it's interesting. Jamie Mullarkey's tough. He's shown toughness. Lots of wins via KO. His defense isn't the best, but neither is Prado's. I think the longer the fight goes, the more it swings in favor of Mullarkey. And I like Jamie Mullarkey in this. I like him probably to finish Francisco Prado. He's just got a really good pace and pressure to him. You know, I think I like inside the distance just in this matchup in general. I'm sure the odds makers do as well. I'm going to go with Mullarkey minus 275. And then inside the distance is minus 225. Yeah, I think if Prado wins, he's going to do something early. I know it's early. Islam. Obek. I like Islam. We'll get to that. I know it's early, but will you get into Super Bowl talk also? I could, Johnny. Yeah, I could get into that. Maybe we'll save that for the end. All right, so Francisco Prado. I don't know. I just don't think this is going to go the distance. And then as far as the winning method, I'm going with Mullarkey KO. Plus 120. I'm probably going to, like, in a round robin, I could definitely see myself taking fight does not go the distance for minus 225. We'll have to see what... I don't know if I'm going to bet on Mullarkey minus 275, but I like Mullarkey in that fight. Shannon Ross plus 260. Sorry, let's go on to the card. I like to do the odds at the end. Shannon Ross plus 265. He's coming off the Dana White Contender Series. Actually lost on there. Was a pretty big favorite, I think, going into it. Loses. Got dropped a bunch and then KO'd. He's taking on Kleidson Rodriguez, who's 0-1 in the UFC. Lost a close fight to CJ Vergara. Also came up through the Dana White Contender Series. It's probably more... I don't know. I think this fight is primarily going to play out standing up. And I just think Kleidson Rodriguez is the better fighter. He is the heavy favorite. like we saw. Kleidson Rodriguez minus 320. Yeah, I mean, I like him to win in that manner. Shannon Ross, he got hurt a lot on the Contender Series. 8.43 strikes absorbed. He got dropped, like I said, 3 times. And I think Kleidson Rodriguez probably has the ability to do that as well. So I'm going to roll with Kleidson Rodriguez. I think it's Kleidson and inside the distance. Plus 240 for the KO for Kleidson. Excuse me. Plus 100 for the KO or submission. I don't believe Kleidson has any submission victories. Shannon Ross, 6 KO victories, 1 submission victory. Yeah, I could see this one ending inside the distance, for sure. But I'm going to go with Kleidson to win via KO. Kleidson on the money line. The next fight is Josh Kulabau taking on Melsik Bagdasaryan. Josh Kulabau, good fighter. Melsik, good fighter. Kulabau's on a 2-fight win streak. Yeah, he had a draw versus Jourdain, lost to Jalen Turner. Nothing wrong with that. Yeah, solid fighter, good fighter. Not the best defense, but pretty solid. Melsik Bagdasaryan, 2-0 in the UFC. Seems like a really good striker. Is very dangerous early with his power. Good output. I mean, if Kulabau can't get takedowns and Melsik's got pretty good takedown defense, I think, and this fight plays out on the feet, I think it's close, but I like Melsik. Yeah, I like Melsik. I think Melsik's probably the favorite. It's a pick'em. I mean, yeah, Josh Kulabau is good. He's really good. He, going to a draw against Jourdain's impressive. Losing to Turner in your debut there's nothing wrong with that. Zero % takedown accuracy for Josh Kulabau. So he hasn't gotten a takedown in the UFC. Yeah, I just think that if this is going to play out on the feet, I like Melsik a lot. There is a gas tank concern, like he does slow down. But I like Melsik to win the early rounds, and then he's just probably got to survive late against Kulabau if it's going to a decision and he can't get him out of there. Odds makers do like this one to go the distance. I mean, maybe there's some value on the KO. Plus 150 for Melsik, plus 300. No, my pick is gonna be the decision for Melsik. I think it's gonna be a decision, but I might actually do Melsik. I did primarily because it's a pick'em. And I think he's really good. Tyson Pedro taking on Modestas Bukauskas. Tyson Pedro, 2-0, 2-fight win streak since he came back. Took a little hiatus from 2018 to 2022, and he's looked really good. Modestas, he's coming back to the UFC. He was 1-3 prior. not bad competition, right? Khalil Roundtree, Michael Olajaychuk, Jimmy Crute beat Michailidis. Yeah, so now he's coming back. He's fighting Tyson Pedro. This fight should be interesting. I'm going to roll with Tyson Pedro. I think he's just a little bit more dangerous. I think we've seen Modestas get KO'd before. How many losses via KO? 3 KO losses. I think Tyson Pedro could knock him out. Modestas does have a little bit better output. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. I think if Tyson Pedro can get him out of there early, that's probably better, because it might look like on the scorecard with activity, Modestas might look pretty good if it's a point match. But I'm going to go roll with Tyson Pedro. I think he gets it done inside the distance. Tyson Pedro is the minus 215 favorites. I mean, his competition since returning is not the best. Odds makers do not like this to go the distance at minus 2. I kind of like that. Minus 225, no. Like, his level of competition is not good. And Modestas is not, I don't think he's the guy to necessarily set things straight, but yeah, I'm gonna roll with Tyson Pedro KO. Just writing some ideas down. I'll post my picks, my official picks on Twitter. Give me a follow. All right, the next fight of the night we've got is Jimmy Crute taking on Alonzo Menifield onto the main card, which is starting at 9 o'clock, the normal time for Central. Jimmy Crute, he's on a 2-fight losing streak. He's taking on Alonzo Menifield. I mentioned Crute's losing streak. He lost to Jamal Hill, the champ, and Anthony Smith. Had a leg injury in that fight. And then Alonzo Menifield, he's an athlete. He's explosive. Lots of knockout power. Out of his 13 wins, I think 10 are knockouts, and there's 12 round 1 finishes for his 13 wins. So he's a finisher. Jimmy Crute as well. He's got a lot of finishes in his own right. What's he look like? 42 and 33. I mean, he carries some serious power in his punches. Should probably want to grapple in this. That's my opinion. I think Alonzo's, you wear him out, lean on him in round 1, get him really, really tired, and just keep doing that. Just keep doing that. Ground and pound, maybe get a submission. I mean, Menifield's going to be dangerous, and we did see Jimmy Crute get KO'd by Hill, but I think Hill's good. So, yeah, I'm rolling with Jimmy Crute here. He is the favorite. Minus 180. I think I like a finish for sure. Minus 500. Okay, can't bet on that. And I'm going to say, yeah, like maybe I'm doing, what? Alternative method of victory double chance. Crute submission or Menifield KO. That's crazy. Minus 165. That's kind of... it's kind of crazy. I was going to say the Jimmy Crute KO or submission, minus 120. But seeing this one, it's kind of crazy. Isn't it? It's kind of cool. That was minus 165 for that? That's an interesting one. I don't know if I've ever seen that before. If I just skip over it every time. I feel like that's an interesting prop bet. Because oftentimes you're like, you know, when you're looking at fighters, you're like, well, if he wins, it's gonna, you know, if it's a grappler, jiu-jitsu guy, you're like, it's gonna be a submission. But if, you know, the other guy wins, playing out on the feet, it might be a knockout or a decision. I don't, you know, whatever it is. Think in your head, like, I think I know what the outcome's gonna be for each fighter. Like, the most likely outcome for each of them. That's kind of crazy. I feel like I should track it maybe for a while, like with paper bets, and like then maybe see if that's just like an area of expertise, you know? Justin Tafa taking on Parker Porter. Justin Tafa, 1 fight win streak. All 5 of his wins have been knockout victories. Taking on Parker Porter. Parker Porter's on a 1 fight losing streak. He's lost to Jalton Almeida, Chris Daukaus. Otherwise, he's beating his opponents. Has really good output for the heavyweight division. Has been knocked out by Daukaus, and he was submitted by Jalton Almeida very easily. I mean, he's got to be careful against Tafa, but I definitely like his ability to win. Tafa scares me, though. He's definitely got the knockout power, and Parker Porter just doesn't carry that at all. And he gets hit a lot. 6.32 strikes absorbed per minute. I guess, I mean, Tafa's the favorite, but I'm going to go with Parker Porter. And he's plus 120 here, but if he wins, I think it's gonna be a decision. I'd be so surprised if Parker Porter like knocked his ass out. Plus 350 decision. Yeah, I mean, I like him to be the minute winner. Tafa's got power though, right? We said it. 5 wins via KO. Hasn't been great in the UFC. We can look at that record real quick. Lost to Jared Vanderaa, a decision. Lost to Felipe, a decision. Jorgen De Castro, a decision. And the fighters he's beaten, Juan Adams, I don't think he's still in the UFC. Yeah. And Harry Hansucker, he's not in the UFC anymore. And everyone was knocking out Harry. Real bad cardio on Harry. So, yeah, give me Parker Porter in this fight. Next fight we've got is Jack Della Maddalena taking on Randy Brown. I'm really excited for this fight. I think on paper this looks like you got Jack Maddalena, who's at 3-0 in the UFC, and then Randy Brown, who's just so talented. Is on a 4-fight win streak. Fought a lot of guys. Really experienced resume and done well against a lot of good fighters. Taking on Jack, who, looks amazing. This is by far going to be his biggest test. I'm really excited for this one. I really like both of these fighters. Look at Jack is a heavy favorite, and I think for that reason I can't bet money on Vicente Luque, Nico Price, Bilal Muhammad, and Michael Graves. Pretty good, all really good fighters. And then he's beating good fighters as well. I don't know. And I love the frame. I love the frame of Randy Brown. Jack seems like a really, really good fighter. The boxing is great. This is just going to be a stand-up fight, and it's going to be really, really great. This is a big step up in competition for sure. We've seen Ings lose though. This is a big step up in competition for Jack. And it's starts off 0-2 in his career and then just hasn't lost. Knocking people out. We've seen Randy Brown get KO'd a couple times. Luque. Oh, and Nico Price. His last 2 losses. I don't know. I'm so torn on this one. I guess I'm going to go with Jack Maddalena. I do think he can rise to the occasion and pass this test. I think it's also, it's a big step up in competition, but it's not like he's going to get wrestled. I just think without that threat, Jack's got this. So I'm going to roll with Jack Maddalena, minus 300. I'm going to say I like the fight to not go the distance. I think both of these guys are capable of hurting each other in the stand-up game. I'm going to go with Maddalena, KO. I don't know if I can bet that. Minus 125. It should be a really good fight. I'm looking forward to it a lot. And styles make fights, and I think this one's just going to be a lot of fun to watch. We got the co-main, which looks like a lot of fun. It's Yair Rodriguez taking on Josh Emmett. Yair's heading into this contest on a 1-fight winning streak. I'm really excited to see Yair fight because we got robbed of a fight with him and Ortega. And then he's taking on Josh Emmett, who's just been incredible as of late on a 5-fight win streak. This is a tough prediction to make. I think Josh Emmett, even though I picked Cater, even though I thought maybe Cater won that fight, Josh Emmett did impress in his last outing. He carries a ton of power. He carries a ton of power. He's a great boxer. Yair Rodriguez is probably the better overall striker, and Yair Rodriguez he's awesome. Him back in action. I do think the Chan Sung Jung KO was incredible. I do think both fighters are capable of hurting each other, but I just think Josh Emmett's going to have the greater power in this matchup. So, yeah, give me Josh Emmett to win this. He's tough. He's shown he's tough. Odds makers have Emmett at plus 150 odds. I mean, yeah, even like it's gonna be, if it's gonna play out on the feet entirely, it's gonna be close. And then if anyone's gonna grapple, I feel like it's Josh Emmett. So I think the power that he carries, maybe he's able to get to drop Yair once or twice. This is going to be a 5-round fight as well. Both have experience in that, but yeah, I think if it's going to be on the feet, it's going to be close. And then Josh Emmett, the power is just going to carry him to a decision victory. Odds makers do like this one to go the distance. I'd have to agree. I'm going to go with the decision for Emmett. And then if Yair, I mean, it could be close. Split or more majority decision at plus 500. I mean, if it goes to that decision, it's going to be close. And it's going to be 5 rounds, too. It could be split. It could be split. And then we've got the main event. We've got Islam Makhachev taking on Alexander Volkanovski. Islam is incredible. He's on a 11 fight win streak, and Alex is incredible on a 22 fight win streak. So we've got the 145 pound champ going up to 155 pounds, trying to become the double champion, right? And I mean, Volk is good. Volk is really, really good. I think he's really, really good. I don't know. I don't know if he really stands a chance in this fight. I mean, if Islam comes in with like a dumb game plan, Volkanovski is just like, he's a technician in there. He goes in there with a game plan. He executes upon it. If it gets to a decision, it could get interesting. And Islam's not taking down Volkanovski, it could get interesting. I do think, like, there's just some things about Volkanovski, like the fight against Ortega, where I think he got put in a couple of submission attempts, and one of them was a really, really, really bad guillotine. I think if you get put in that spot against Ortega, Islam's going to find that as well. So I like Islam a lot in this fight. I think Islam retains the belt and wins here. I did put some bets in on Islam like a while ago. I think the lines moved. So I got him at like minus 325. It's at minus 380 right now. I like the fight to not go the distance, minus 175. I think Islam submits him. That's what I think. I mean, you got put in that spot against Ortega. A couple of bad spots. And I think if you do that against Islam, Volkanovski wasn't a tall, 145 pounder. But I think this is going to be a tough fight for him. So I like Islam in this fight. I like the submission. If Volkanovski is able to keep it standing, I think he probably will look really proficient and good on the feet. But yeah, give me Islam. All right, let's check trending topics. For me, number one is UFOs. SmackDown, Drag Race, Last Drive-In, Derek White. Well, let's talk about the NBA trade deadline. Because I don't really see anything interesting right now. Philly won. Oh, and Memphis is up now too. Sweet. Swing. I did some bets. Do they just have like a trade deadline breakdown? Yeah, here we go. So, I'm a Bulls fan. Really, really big Bulls fan. Pretty disappointed the Bulls didn't do anything. I mean, Durant going to the Suns is... That starting lineup is pretty incredible. The Nets got back Cam Johnson, who's out for the year, and Mikal Bridges. I think Cam Johnson might be in a contract here. So, I don't know how that works, but yeah, the Nets might have to try and re-sign him, or he'll just be a free agent, and then they got 4 first-round picks, which is really good for the Nets, who lost Kyrie Irving, and I mean, it was just clear, like, I just think this ownership group for the Nets, it's just a disaster. I really do. Joe Tsai, I think the front office, I just think it's a disaster. So it was Kyrie, KD. KD was recovering from ACL injury. They made it to the Eastern Conference Finals, lost to Milwaukee in Game 7 because Kevin Durant stepped over the line on a game-tying 2-pointer that he made. Could have been a 3-pointer. Could have been to the NBA Finals, playing the Suns, the Nets would have been, and that would have just, that would have been such a success. And it just coming off of that year, it was like, and holy shit, you add James Harden to the equation? Wow. That didn't work. And then it was Ben Simmons, and then just how dysfunctional it was this year. It was crazy. So I'm not a big fan of the Nets. I'm a big fan of Kevin Durant, big fan of Kyrie Irving. I think they're just awesome talents. So I think both teams in this Kevin Durant deal did pretty well. I was surprised to not see DeAndre Ayton's name in this deal. I don't know, like, why you feel like Cam Johnson is a good piece if it is a contract year. He is obviously a good shooter, was Kobe White's teammate. But yeah. Gary Payton. Warriors got Gary Payton for James Wiseman. And I think the Warriors also got Sadiq Bey, right? And then the Blazers got 5 second-round picks, which I don't really get. So I believe the Warriors got a bunch of picks for Wiseman, like a bunch of second-rounders. And then they sent the second rounders to the Trailblazers to get Peyton, and they got Sadiq Bey. I don't know. Good for the Warriors. They've got defense again on the perimeter with DiVincenzo, with Gary Payton. Sadiq Bey is an interesting player. I thought he was a good buy low candidate for sure. I think the dude dropped like a 50-point game or a 60-point game last year, and he's very young, maybe not the greatest shooter, but very young. So I think he's pretty good. Detroit Piston, who cares? I mean, they get Wiseman. They're in the division. I do think the Bulls are just like, if things don't improve quickly, we're gonna be the worst team in the division quickly. Because I do think Detroit with Cunningham, with Ivy, with Duren, and now adding Wiseman, and probably getting a top draft pick this year. I just think, they're going to be in a good position in a little bit. The Lakers did some work, right? They got Mo Bamba, Malik Beasley, D'Angelo Russell, Vanderbilt. That was a kind of crazy trade to the Jazz, I thought. And I don't know where that is, but that was kind of a crazy deal, I thought. Because the Jazz had just gotten Vanderbilt in the Gobert trade, but I don't blame them. They like Laurie and Kessler moving forward, but Vanderbilt was a good player, and I don't know, I was kind of surprised the Lakers got Vanderbilt in the deal as well. And then I really like Mike Conley on the Timberwolves, along with Anthony Edwards, Karl Anthony Towns, Rudy Gobert. I think Mike Conley just makes a lot more sense on that team. And he was a former teammate of Rudy Gobert, who's been kind of underwhelming, right, in Minnesota. So maybe it gets him back on track. We'll see. I don't know. He's playing tonight. I think they're losing to Memphis. Anything else that stood out? Yeah, Celtics land floor spacing big from OKC. Well, I guess, Mike Muscala's got a different skill set. I just thought the Bulls could have dealt someone. I think, I love the aggressiveness of the Clippers to go after Bones. I think it was 2 second rounders. Bones Highland. I love that aggressiveness to go after a point guard. I thought the Bulls were going after a point guard, but maybe not. I don't know. Lonzo's out. You need something besides Io, Kobe, Dragic. You need something, and Bones just seemed like a high ceiling kind of young player opportunity, only in his second year. So I don't know. I like that trade for the Clippers, and Bones is a good shooter too. So we'll see what happens on the buyout market, but and the Clippers also got Eric Gordon. Going back to the team that drafted him. There was a year where it was, I don't know if they actually played together, but it was supposed to be, Eric Gordon and Blake Griffin together. And Johnny mentioned in the chat Super Bowl. Let's go back to DraftKings, because let's just look at DraftKings, right? It's in Arizona. Gosh, I just I think DraftKings had a boost on Jalen Hurts or Miles Sanders to score for like plus 100 or something, or plus 150. It was, and I think I got a max bet on it, or whatever they limited it at. But otherwise, I don't have any other bets placed. Gosh. I mean, the Eagles are a really good football team. I think they're really deep. I think they're overall just the better roster than the Chiefs, but there's something about Patrick Mahomes scares me a lot. I think I like the over 51. Like, my biggest worry is, like, you find a way to shut down Kelsey, and where are the Chiefs gonna be putting the ball? I mean, Tony, Scantling, Juju Smith, and they, like, Valdez-Scantling was hurt. I mean, he looks really good with Patrick Mahomes. He's been looking better as of late. But I think the Eagles just have, with their running attack, the two great wide receivers, a good tight end for themselves. I just think they're the better football team. So I kind of like the over 51 and the Eagles here. I'd say I'd take the Eagles minus 1.5. I don't think that's too crazy. So that would be my prediction for the game. I don't know. We'll see what happens. The idea of getting Kansas City at plus money sounds appealing, of course, but I don't know. I just think the Eagles are more dynamic as a team. They got the running attack. They got the better defense. They got the wide receiver weapons, offensive weapons that Kansas City just doesn't really have outside of Kelsey. For anytime touchdown scores, I like Kelsey. I like Hurts to maybe get a rushing one. I mean, Sanders has had a lot of touchdowns on the year, maybe a 10 or 12 touchdown running back. So I don't know. And Devonta Smith has been, AJ Brown's, I think, kind of been quiet lately, and Devonta Smith seems to have really taken off in his connection with Jalen Hurts. So yeah, those are going to be my picks. I'm going to sign off for tonight. I was going to say we did it in under an hour. No, we had the up, but that's no big deal. I appreciate everyone tuning in to KO Bets. My name is Bill. Again, if you wouldn't mind, like the video, subscribe to the channel, give me a follow on Twitter. You can see it, right here. Give me a follow there. I'll post some UFC bets tomorrow morning, and we'll track those. I just think there's just been a connection with them. So, all right, everyone, have a great night. I will see you maybe on Sunday. Maybe we'll do a Sunday show. Is there NBA on Sunday? That'll kind of dictate what we do. If there's NBA, I'll do a show on Sunday. If there's not, I already gave my Super Bowl picks. All right, have a good night.